Okay, well, it's time now to take a look at what's taking up pages in the French papers. Diptyque Laurent is with us in studio. Diptyque, I believe already we're getting a number of reactions to these rare talks between rivals North and South Korea.
Well, maybe that's why the reactions have been coming in thick and fast, because it was such a historic meeting between the two Koreas on the demilitarized zone, of course. North Korea has now announced it will be sending a delegation to next month's Winter Games in the South Korean city of Pyeongchang. South Korea, for its part, as you said earlier, has offered to possibly hold military talks to help bring down tensions. That's what Le Figaro says, and possibly touting now a reunion for families separated by the border sometime between now and next month. The two Koreas, according to the French version of Huffington Post, have been at war with each other for 64 years, and this meeting took place in a very symbolic place as well, the Peace House on the demilitarized zone, where the ceasefire between North and South Korea was signed back in 1953. It also took place under the watchful eye of the U.S. Washington is keenly watching these. Was keenly watching these talks. L'Opinion, the French right-wing paper, reminds us of a report from the New York Times that revealed the Trump administration may have badly underestimated the time they have to slow or stop the development of a missile capable of striking the U.S.
Okay, and of course, remains to be seen out of the proposals what becomes concrete from those talks. But let's stay in the region, and French President Emmanuel Macron continues his visit to China. That's getting a lot of attention here.
Well, he does continue that visit. It is a bit of a charm offensive, really, and he's made no he's not been hiding that. Emmanuel Macron is, of course, hoping to woo first and foremost Chinese officials, but also investors, and try and hammer through some important business contracts, as well as forging strong diplomatic ties with China during this visit. He wants to bring back a balance to the Franco-Chinese relationship. We've seen this word a lot in the French press to describe this visit. In fact, Le Figaro, the right-leaning paper, really seems to approve of the approach that Macron is taking, noting that he was also looking to impose himself as the sort of spokesman of the European Union, and to really hammer the fact that that Europe is strong once again. The French paper Les Echos, the business paper, is looking at what it calls the, quote, yes, but approach by Emmanuel Macron. President Xi Jinping has a major economic plan, of course, for developing new routes on the Silk Road. And Macron has expressed his support for this, but says the project must adhere at least to social and environmental norms.
Indeed, it'll be interesting to see how that rebalancing of the books idea goes down at the other side of the table. Meanwhile, not as positive press really coming from a former French president, Nicolas Sarkozy. His affair about his elections possibly being financed by the Libyan government once again making headlines.
Well, he is no longer president, and he hasn't been president for a long time, but his name keeps cropping up because there is an investigation into the financing of his presidential campaign back in 2007, so well over a decade. Now, a French businessman called Alexandre Juvey has been arrested in London. The website L'Obs reports that he'll be brought before French authorities soon. Juvey is basically suspected of being a middleman between Nicolas Sarkozy and the late Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi. Sarkozy is accused of receiving millions of euros from Gaddafi, which were then used to fund his presidential campaign. So these are the allegations, and investigators suspect that Juvey may have laundered some of that money by selling his villa on the French Riviera at 10 times its market value. He's also accused of helping a Libyan diplomat escape France back in 2012, despite French authorities issuing an arrest warrant for Saleh. It sounds like all the trappings of a great movie, doesn't it?
Indeed. And something that could play into a lot of French minds. There's other articles today saying that the vast majority of French people actually believe in conspiracy theories. This is
kind of scary, actually, if you think about it. Le Libre is headlining on this, conspiracy theories. French people, there you go. Conspiracy theories, it's a dark side of France, a very dramatic headline from the left-leaning paper. Conspiracy theories about things like climate change, about what really happened on September 11th, 2001. Even things about conspiracies about the origins of AIDS or vaccines. It turns out that more and more people are buying into conspiracy theories. According to a French study, the kind of people likely to believe in these theories are young and generally vote for the far-leaning parties. The paper warns against this sort of emergence of conspiracy theories, saying that don't always believe that the government only feeds us lies, and don't always believe that the traditional media is out to manipulate the population. It's not always true, Libe says.
Okay, I guess there's a balance between a healthy questioning of what's going on and a willingness to accept some form of reality. Diptyque, let's finish with a Las Vegas electronics show taking place right now, quite a sizable one.
Well, it's one of the world's biggest electronic shows. It takes place, sort of kicks off the calendar year for what's new and what's hot in the technology world. And this year, a company has unveiled some new trends in gaming, so video games. A Japanese startup basically wants to do away with gamepads or devices like the Nintendo Wii. Zenoma, this company, has presented the e-skin. It's a t-shirt full of sensors and registers your movement when you play a video game and then transmits this information. So essentially you become the gamepad. Your body becomes a gamepad.
That sounds healthy.
It sounds very, very unhealthy. The person who tested this said when your character, for instance, when your character in the video game will run, well, you have to move your arms and you have to jump up and down as though you were running. So it is quite physical. But that, for me at least, begs the question, why don't you just go outside and go for a run?
Indeed, that's a question I cannot answer, Diptyque Laurent. There you go. Thanks a lot for that roundup of the French papers.